Welcome back to another video. Today I wanted to talk about cities because recently during CitizenCon, CIG unveiled a new visual showcase of Lawville 2.0. And this wasn't any specific gameplay, but CIG just wanted to show us what new cities would be like, because the old cities were kind of just based on shapes that look like buildings. So up close there wasn't a whole lot of detail. So now they want to add in a lot more detail so players can fly through the cities instead of having to worry about no-fly zones. So the no-fly zone restrictions will be removed from most cities and you'll be able to fly through them and feel like they're more like a real place. The buildings will be more to scale, and you'll be able to land on top of the buildings at certain landing pads, and these areas will have more detail. Maybe these buildings will have box missions like we've seen before in other cities. So this is a big improvement. They also showed us a little glimpse of how big the new Lawville is going to be. It's going to have several different zones on the outside. So today I wanted to compare the new Lawville with the old Lawville and talk a little bit about my ideas about how cities might work. So at the end of this video there'll be a little bit of theory crafting. Okay, so as you can see here in the old Lawville, we have the Tisa Spaceport, Levston Station, the Metro Center, and the Workers District. Now, the Workers District is where we have basically everything in Lawville. This has Habs, this has bars, this has shops, and you basically do everything in the Workers District. And then up here you have the Central Business District, and this is where the Trade Development area is. This is where the Hurston Dynamics showcase is, right at the base of the Hurston Dynamics building. Okay, and then you have all of these gates surrounding the outside of the city, and these gates are kind of the worst part about Lawville right now, because they kind of just don't make a whole lot of sense. I think they were made complicated on purpose so it could feel like the city's bigger than it is. According to CIG, these gates are staying. Okay, so this is the old Lawville, or the current one. So now we're going to look at the new Lawville for a second here. And this is essentially what they've shown us is the new Lawville. Okay, so you have the same city center as the old Lawville, which is the Central Business District under the Hurston Dynamics building. But as you can see here, the buildings around the Hurston Dynamics building has grown significantly. These are massive structures around the Hurston Dynamics building, and some people have already said that they don't know how much they like that, because they really liked how large and imposing the Hurston Dynamics building was in compared to the other city buildings. But in reality, the Hurston Dynamics building was so big because the other buildings around it weren't really to scale. So now that all the buildings are to scale, there will be larger buildings around the Hurston Dynamics building. But as you can see here, the layout has changed significantly. If we zoom in a little bit in this photo, you can kind of see that all of the transit lines have been moved. Okay, in the past, Tisa Spaceport was right here, but as you can see in this photo, it has a central line going right down the middle of the city where Tisa Spaceport used to be. Okay, so that's a major change of what is actually going to be inside the heart of the city. And then the second largest change is all of these outer zones here. So as you can see, there are 9 outer zones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 outer zones. And right now, they're all marked as industrial zones. Now, I don't know if that's just CIG marking them as industrial zones because they essentially don't want to give away too much about what kinds of content is going to be going on here. But in my personal opinion, having all of these outside neighborhoods is just industrial zones for, you know, gameplay missions. It's kind of a missed opportunity. Okay. Now, each of these zones combined are probably bigger than the heart of the city in, total square footage or square kilometers. So these are going to be massive locations, and whatever kind of content that CIG brings out here are going to be big. I mean, if you've seen what CIG has shown us about the new underground facilities, industrial facilities are going to get much bigger. The underground facilities are absolutely massive. The new ones, anyway, that they're planning on rolling out, they each have their own hangars, ground entrances, on-foot entrances. And there's going to be a lot of opportunities for FPS gameplay, box missions, maybe resource management type stuff. And I'm going to get into that a little bit more in the second half of the video. Okay, so there's a lot of infrastructure around the new version of the city that kind of leads us to believe that there's going to be a lot of gameplay around here. But again, in my opinion, this is kind of a missed opportunity because what I personally would like to see is making these areas feel less like mission zones and more like open world locations. Okay, I want the freedom to be able, I want the freedom to be able to go to these locations wherever I want without a mission. Okay, but I know it's not really feasible for CIG to make Lawville like Night City or San Andreas. Making the city walkable or drivable, that's just a lot to ask for right now. But that being said, this game is designed to be really massive. It's designed to have really big scale. So ultimately, when building cities, you want to kind of future-proof it. I don't know about you guys, but I've played a lot of city builders in the past, and there's a logic behind what you need to do to make the city successful in a game. Like in any city builder, there is a lot of logic involved in placing everything in the city. Okay, where you place the power plants and everything like that, where you place roads, where you place the harbor. It needs to flow so the people in the city can make the best use of it, so you have the happiest population. I mean, that's a mechanic in city builders since the beginning of city builders. And if you've played a lot of city builders, you know that that stuff could be pretty fun. So I kind of wanted to, take an opportunity to make my version of Lawville, kind of how I would utilize these outer zones, how I would utilize the core of the city. Okay, so this is basically just me saying this is what I think would be cool to have Lawville as. Okay, so now we're gonna go on to the new map that I just made. Okay, so this map that I made is not what CIG has said about what Lawville is going to be about. Okay, I just want to get that right off the back. We really don't know what the new Lawville is going to have. Okay, when CIG showed us Lawville 2.0, it was really just a visual showcase. It wasn't really a gameplay showcase. So we're not sure what's going to be at Lawville right now. We just know that buildings are going to be bigger and more interactive, so we're going to be able to fly through them. So there's no fly zones. The city is much larger and it's going to have a lot of industrial zones, and there's going to be gameplay at those zones. That's what we know so far. So everything in this map is kind of just my wish list for what a city in Star Citizen could become. And I'm going to give you my reasoning for why I kind of laid out everything the way I did. Okay. So starting off here, we have the Hurston Dynamics building. In this layout, I haven't changed that. It's in the perfect location. It's an iconic part of Lorville's skyline. You know, I wouldn't move it. Then at the base of that, we have the Central Business District. That's exactly the same as it currently is right now. You have the Trade Development Department. You have the Hurston Dynamics Showcase with all the guns. And then below that, you have the Central Station. Again, that hasn't changed in this layout. This is the area where the trains arrive, and it has the giant Archibald Hurston statue standing up front. It is very awe-inspiring. It's a cool location. That hasn't changed. Okay, but from there on out, everything else is a little bit different. Okay, so this red square that you see here, this is the new location for Maria Pure of Heart. Now in the current version of the game, Maria Pure of Heart, the hospital, is kind of in this location here. But what I wanted to do with this map is I wanted to separate a lot of the workers from the city, if that makes any sense. Lorville is a very to put things lightly, the Hurstons, they're not good people. Okay. They don't treat their workers good, and the workers are basically like servants. Okay, so what I wanted to do was I wanted to incorporate that law into the design of the city. So basically, in this design, Hurston has separated the workers district from the rest of the city, so they essentially don't have to look at the workers. You know, so the workers are in their own district over here, but the workers district is central to all of the places that the workers need to go to work at. So with Maria Pure of Heart and the workers district being over here on this side, it kind of puts them too central in the city, and it pushes them, you know, a little too far away from the action. So I moved the workers district over here, and this is this green outline that you see right here. And at the center of the workers district, you have Maria Pure of Heart. So Maria Pure of Heart, the hospital, is in the center of the workers district because it is a location that, you know, there's a lot of on the job site injuries. Maybe, you know, the working conditions aren't the best. Maybe workers pass out while they're on the assembly line. They need to get rushed to the hospital. Maybe they get, maybe they fall into a machine and they die, so they have to respawn at Maria Pure of Heart. So I thought it made a lot of sense to put the hospital in the center of the workers district, because the workers district, they're going to need the most medical attention probably, you know. And so then this purple outline here is the next train station. Okay, this is the main train station here that you have in the workers district, the one with all the lines, and you can see it's directly adjacent to all of the transit lines in this new city. So from Maria Pure of Heart, you can go straight to the train station and get anywhere in the city. Okay, and so this green weirdly shaped location right here, this is the new Tisa spaceport. Okay, and well, before I get ahead of myself, this green box inside the workers district here, this is the new Coliseum Convention Center. Now, more than likely, because CIG is updating Lorville, they will add a convention center there. Now, Lorville was created before in-game conventions was a thing, so Lorville doesn't have a convention center, and IAE and Fleet Week has never been at Lorville. But now that the city is being updated, obviously you're going to want to have conventions at Lorville like IAE and Fleet Week, and it would make a lot of sense to have Fleet Week at Lorville because the Hurstons have a lot of contracts with the UEE to provide them with military weapons. So for the UEE to host Fleet Week at Louisville would be a cool and realistic thing to do. So right here, right next to Maria Pure of Heart, you've got the new convention center, and I thought that would be a cool place to have it. And then, okay, going back now to the new TISA spaceport, you see here it is directly connected to this structure here, and this structure here is the new ground exit and entrance. Okay, so you see here you have the spaceport ground terminal. So you land at the spaceport, you take a train right here, and you get your ground vehicle and you can drive around. Now there are still going to be gates around the city, but you're not going to need to use these gates to get out of the city. Currently, when you land at Louisville, you have to take the train to the workers district and get to the central terminal, and then you can take the gates out to the city. So you basically have to take 2 trains just to get outside. With this system, it's kind of more like how spaceports are at other cities, like New Babbage, how you have the space station, and then below the spaceport you have the ground exit. So you would basically just take one short train to the ground exit, call your ground vehicle, and you can drive around outside. Now while you're at the other locations in the city, they will have their own ground exits, so you won't need to land at the spaceport and then take the ground exits to go out in those locations. You can just go out the ground exit while you're at those locations, or you can take the ground exit that's right up here. So it kind of streamlines the amount of traveling that you actually have to do just to get outside of the city. Now the ground exit is not right in front of the spaceport, because the ground exit is going to serve 2 spaceports. I know that might seem strange, but in this city layout there are actually 3 spaceports. So there is TISA spaceport, there is the import only spaceport, and there's the export only spaceport. And you might be thinking, why on earth does Louisville need 3 spaceports? Well, in the future, this game is designed to be massively multiplayer, and there is supposed to be thousands of players on each shard. I know that CIG says that at one point the game is going to be on one shard and everybody in the world is going to be playing on one server. And I made a video a little while ago talking about the matchmaking situation, and a lot of people in the comments and on Reddit said that, you know, a matchmaking system like a serverless is not necessary, because the game is eventually going to be just one shard, or one shard per region, like US region and Australia region and so on. So a lot of people were saying that having a shard list is unnecessary. Personally, I think that feature is very far away. I don't think we're going to get that anytime soon. But if that is the case, and if the game is going to go in that direction, these cities are not equipped to support 5,000, 10,000 players landing at one time. Okay, so let me paint this picture for you for a second here. Okay, TISA spaceport has between 30 and 50 hangars at it. Let's say it has 50 hangars at it. There are 1,000 players in Louisville at that one time. Okay, 200 of those players want to land. Okay, they're coming and going using just TISA spaceport. So there's going to be a line backed up of people who are trying to land at TISA spaceport, because it's got 50 hangars at it. Now add on top of that cargo timers. Let's say I'm coming into TISA spaceport and it takes me 15 minutes to offload my cargo and put it in the cargo elevator to deliver it to Louisville. That hangar is out of commission for 15 minutes. And let's say 40 people are offloading their cargo ships. 40 hangars are now out of commission of people offloading their cargo ships for the next 15 minutes. So you're going to have a line of people backed up who just want to land in the city. Okay, so in this city layout, I have moved the cargo spaceports away from the center of the city. So if you are not delivering or picking up cargo, you can just land. You don't have to worry about people who are loading and offloading their spaceships. Those are going to be at these two new spaceports, which are going to be massive. Okay, so everybody coming into the city, dropping off cargo, will land at this spaceport. Okay, and everybody leaving the city, picking up cargo, will use this spaceport. So this is the export only spaceport. This is the import only spaceport. So not only does it free up hangars at the main spaceport, it also frees up hangars and landing pads at the cargo spaceports. Let's say there are 40 people dropping off cargo, another 40 people could be picking up cargo. So by splitting up the spaceports again, it gives us more hangars to work with. So 50 people could be picking up, 50 people could be dropping off, and 50 people could just be coming and going. Maybe they want to land at Lowville to do some shopping. Maybe they want to land at Lowville to do some missions. So they don't have to worry about people who are managing their cargo and trading. They can just land and go where they need to go. Okay, so right down here we have production facility number 1. Okay, so at production facility number 1, this is where things are going to be made. And so you have four facilities here. So you have 2 assembly facilities, a refinery facility, and then a fabrication facility right here. Okay, so at these locations you will have different in-game assets, different missions that you can do. At a refinery facility, it'll look like refineries at space stations. At production facilities, you might see an assembly line. At a fabrication facility, you might see large 3D printers. And so you'd have to interact with these facilities differently. Okay, they're not just going to be generic industrial facility number 1. They're going to be specialized locations. So if you land at a fabrication facility, you will see giant 3D printers doing things, and you will interact with it in a specific way, and there'll be gameplay designed to maybe repair some of the 3D printers. Maybe at the assembly line, a conveyor belt is broken down, you repair a conveyor belt. Maybe at the refinery, you can pick up refinery job orders just like at space stations. So you'll be doing different things at these locations. Okay, then here we have the power plant. The power plant is centrally located to the city. And at the power plant, maybe you'll get missions to repair different engineering things. Maybe if you're an engineer in the game, you can get engineering reputation with Hurston by working at their power plant and doing engineering missions here, just running around the power plant fixing different things. So this is a good location for different missions, but it's also, again, it's unique from the other industrial locations. Then here you have the water production facility. So maybe here you might fix some valves, change some pipes, and so that kind of gameplay will be centered around in this location. Okay, so then moving out to these 2 locations, these I think are the most interesting locations that I've added to the map that CIG hasn't really talked a whole lot about. So these locations are player housing, and because Lowville is again one of those cities that is just kind of the haves and the have-nots, I've split up the player housing classes. So to stay true to lore, you have the lower income neighborhood down here, and so this is basically player housing. Okay, and so you have the lower income player housing neighborhood down here, and you have the higher income player housing neighborhood up here. And so both neighborhoods are split up into 3 areas. You have the single bedroom floor plan apartments in the biggest area of the zone. Then you have the 2-bedroom player housing apartments and the 3-bedroom apartment player housing. And the same thing goes for the higher income player housing, where you have the 1-bedroom, the 2-bedroom, and the 3-bedroom floor plans. And I think it would be cool for CIG to offer 2 and 3-bedroom floor plans for people who want to be roommates, who, you know, they play with 1 or 2 other people and they don't want to, you know, spend the money to get an apartment of their own. I personally think it would be cool if CIG made apartments purchasable in-game, kind of like Cyberpunk 2077, where you have different apartments in each city that you can choose from. I know that's probably asking for a lot, but again, it would be cool. And if I was making my wish list of how I want cities to be made, I would think it would be cool to have 2 different styles of apartment. So the lower income style of apartment would be more dirty, kind of grungy, you know, in disrepair. And the higher income would be kind of like, you know, the corpo apartments in Cyberpunk 2077. You know, a lot of the design will essentially look more like the Hurston Dynamics building with the marble. Everything is black. Everything is very sleek. So kind of those 2 different design languages, basically. So the existing player habs would be a hotel. So if you don't have Lawville set as your home location, you can still stay at Lawville. Let's say, for instance, you came to the importing space station, but you're getting ready to log out for the night. You land at the station, you offload all your cargo, you go into the workers district, check into the hotel, log out for the night, you're done. Okay, and then the next day you go back to the spaceport, you leave and you go home, you do whatever other missions that you have to do. So the current player habs in the workers district right now would be just a hotel, and these zones out here would be player housing. Okay, so last but not least, we have the new commercial district here. And so this purple square would be essentially where other companies who want to work, have, you know, branches of their company located at Lawville would have buildings. So you would have like Apocalypse Arms and Castac and maybe Behringer, and you would have missions at these companies, land on the buildings, do box missions. Maybe there's mission givers there, and you would get reputation with those specific companies by just going directly to those company buildings. So this new commercial district will be, you know, on just another location where you can have mission content, where there will be you know, heightened gameplay, stuff that you can do to build reputation, and just more places to go in the city. So you can see here all of these train lines, you know, go directly to everywhere that they need to go. Okay, so there's really only one stop to each place. So if you're in the upper income player housing neighborhood, you just go take this one train. You'll have maybe one stop here at the central station, and before you can go to the spaceport. But as you see, this line just goes boom, boom, right there. And again, from the spaceport ground location, from the spaceport, you can also take the train to the other spaceport. And the same thing here, you go to the central station here, then you transfer over to this other spaceport here. Every line is connected, so you never have one or two, you never have more than one or two stops. And I think that's kind of the easiest way to do it. At the end of the day, it's really cool to be able to take public transportation in Star Citizen. It's very immersive, but it also takes a lot of time. And at the end of the day, this is a video game, and we don't want to waste people's time more than we have to. Okay, for immersion purposes, it's really cool, but we want to find kind of the sweet spot. how much immersion, how much time sink. And I feel like one stop maximum is kind of the sweet spot. You don't want to have 2 and 3 stops before you get where you need to go. So that's why every line just goes directly back to the hub. So from the spaceport, you just go to the hub and you can get anywhere. So spaceport's right here, hub's right here, all lines just go to the hub. And in my opinion, that's the easiest way to do it. So yeah, that's my wish list for the new Lorville. I have no idea what CIG is actually going to do. Again, this whole video is just theory crafting. This whole video is just for entertainment purposes only. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. If you like this video, hit like. If you want to see more videos like this, hit subscribe. And I will see you guys next time. Salute.